Well, hey guys, so it is almost 8 o'clock in the evening. So I've put 12-hour day in today, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Had a quick bite for dinner, and I'm out here in the shop for just a little bit, probably not for very long. I'm really curious to test a couple different wire wheels and see how the frame starts cleaning up a little bit. So made a trip to Harbor Freight. They were having a 30% off day. And if you're a Harbor Freight member, what is it, ITC Club, I think it is, that I joined for like 44 bucks for 2 years, $45, whatever it was. You get 30% off everything you purchase under $19.99. So it wasn't limited to 5 items like the regular member, or I should say non-member. I got 30% off everything. So I went and bought a bunch of wire wheels and some different things. Let me show you what I bought. And then what I'm going to try here, I'll kind of flip the camera around and show you the frame, but let me go show you what I got. And then, yeah, I'll show you up this box span setup that I've got to help catch a lot of the rust particles and dust that, is going to be kicked up so I don't breathe it. Also, I'm going to put a respirator on and, a face shield, because I don't trust this stuff. And I'll show you also what I do to kind of control the speed of the grinder a little bit so it's not, going crazy and spitting those little wires everywhere. So hang on, let me flip the camera on and we'll talk about some other stuff, and then we'll get into some live action. So here's some of the stuff I grabbed. Grabbed these stainless steel twisters. These are 4-inch. I grabbed a couple of these guys as well, these 4-inch wire cups. These aren't the twist style. They didn't have the twist style, so I grabbed 2 of these to try them. Bunch of spot cutters, because yeah, I'm going to be spot cutting that body up and using a lot of those body panels to fit old jigsaw here. I also got some of these little saw blades, right, these air saw blades, so I can get in there and cut those wheel tubs out and stuff. So I picked all this stuff up. Like I said, I was able to get everything for 30% off, so that was a big savings. So coming over to the front of the car now, what I like to do, guys, is, here's my grinder. I've had this Hitachi for a long time to serve me well, although it is cracked. And what I like to do is I like to use the variable speed controller to control, I can turn down the speed so it's not whipping, you know what I mean, at 20,000 RPM. I can kind of turn it down, and so it's a little more manageable. Like I said, those little wires don't come flying out everywhere. I also like using this. This is actually a wood frame, and I've got a blower fan inside of there, like a furnace type fan. And I just take an old filter. You can see this one I used with spray painting. I got a video that I can put up here if you guys want to see what I'm talking about, without the filters on it. But I'll plug this in. It'll draw a lot of air and hopefully catch a lot of the rust and dust and stuff in that filter. And so again, I'm not breathing it through the respirator. You can see I did a little spot right there. So, it kind of, here's right this area. I just hit it for just a quick second and, start cleaning up the frame. So yeah, it's got a little pitting, but it's, it's not horrible in that area by any means. So let me fire this thing up, get some grinding going, and see if we can get this cleaned up. The other thing I started doing, guys, is PB blaster. So I started PB blasting a bunch of these bolts. I'm sure they're not going to come off, any easy at all. So I'm starting to blast these bolts, and hopefully maybe we can get a few off, but I'm sure most of them are probably just going to break off. All right, guys, so, you know, there's that side, which I haven't touched, right? That side's untouched, you know, and you can see here now I started hitting it with the wire wheel, and it's not looking too bad. Yeah, there's a little pitting here and there, but, you know, overall, guys, it's not too shabby. She's cleaning up pretty good. You know, for just a couple minutes I hit it. You know, here's one area that I do need to repair. So, you know, I'll get a big washer and weld it in, you know, at that point in time, and reinforce this little area. But, you know, otherwise everything else is pretty darn solid. That's the only spot really, and I think there was one little spot right here that I'll have to touch up and weld. You know, at this point, that's pretty much it. So I don't think you guys want to watch me do this for hours and hours and hours on end. So I'm gonna shut the video off here and just grind away for a while. If you notice, see all the dust, right? You know, you can see there's what it looked like before. That's how much that is caught. There's just a very little bit of dust, you know, that's in the air, not much at all. So I open up the garage door now, so it helps blow any, you know, outside and gives me a little fresh air too. So yeah, it's not really, there's a little bit on the ground, but I'll shop back that up. So anyway, guys, I'll come back in probably a few days and give you an update on how I'm at, where I'm at, because I'll probably have this blown out, you know, torn off, and probably the front suspension torn off as well, so I can drop this down on a couple of these things, you know, somehow roll it around, flip it over, get the bottom side, get the inside, whatever I need to do. When I get to that point, I'll let you guys know. So guys, after farting around for about an hour out here, you know, I pretty much have that, you know, the top of that spring perch, you know, the inside of the frame rail, or I should say the outside of the frame rail, you know, the inside here, the whole outside. I really can't get inside, you know, the frame rail there very good, so I'm gonna have to figure out a way to kind of clean that up. You know, I've got this all cleaned up, I've got the inside of this one cleaned up, you know, started working on the top here, and what I found out works best is use this one, you know, to hit it real good to get all the heavy stuff off, and then come back with this one because of the small little bristles here, and it just kind of helps clean it up afterward. So this one really cuts through, I'll say, the heavier surface rust really well, and then this one kind of helps just kind of clean it up on the top, you know, a little bit more, kind of digs in some little areas, but overall, you know, between the combination of these two, you know, it's doing really good. So I'm pretty happy with how these are, and this is, I'm really surprised, you know, this hasn't been flying apart at all. You know, controlling it with my controller there, you know, keeping the speed down a little lower, it's working really well, and you can see it's not too distorted either. You know, so I'll flip it one way and then I'll try to flip it the other way, you know, on the grinder head, right? Not actually flipping this, although I suppose I could. You know, and then it's doing pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out. So a lot more to go. All right, guys, so, you know, I basically worked on the frame, right, for about an hour, hour and a half the other night. So now I'm going to take this front suspension off, you know, the Pro Street frame here, because this is all brand new, and I'm going to put it on the other frame that I'm going to use. Then I'm going to take all the suspension parts, or try to get them off the other frame, put them on this, or at least include them with the sale of this frame, so somebody at least has them. You know, there's like a little clip there, and you know, there's a few clips here and there still on the frame that I want to snag that I might need. And then I want to get this frame sold. I want to get the wheel sold. I need to still get the pinion out of that. It's stuck in there, so I'm going to get my impact and see if I can drive it out and smack it with a brass hammer. And if we can't get that sucker out of there, so I can have the, you know, ear out of this thing and the posi unit, and then I'll take the whatever ring and pinion is in the other rear end, and we'll put it in this one so somebody at least has that. And then, you know, we'll put a cover on it and stuff. Guys, this is why I'm taking this all apart. See, brand new ball joints, brand new polyurethane bushings, brand new polyurethane bushings, So I believe, yeah, that's a brand new ball joint as well. So, you know, that's why we're doing this. We'll clean these up and repaint them. You know, these are brand new. Well, they're 37 years old, but I'm sure these rubber replacements from 37 years ago are way better than the garbage you get today. So I'm going to try and get this guy out too, and then try to get those mounts out and get that side apart. So guys, he put blocks of wood in there for coil springs wrapped in t-shirts. So what were the t-shirts look like 37 years ago? Well, it looks like Green Automotive in Peoria, Illinois. And he was into men's volleyball, apparently. All right, guys, got a Facebook Marketplace deal. End up picking up 2 sheets of 11 gauge. It is 0.110 thick, essentially. 45.5 by 39.5. 75 bucks for both pieces. You can see they're nice, clean steel here. So I'm going to use one of these to box up that frame, you know, along the sides there, and then right along, along the back there as well. So we'll use some of this, and for the price, I went ahead and grabbed a second one for both pieces were $75 for 2 pieces. Not $75 a piece, 75 bucks for both of them. So can't beat that. Great deal on that. So I, you know, use some of that maybe for some future projects. So now guys, I'm going to tear this rear suspension out. Probably set it somehow on that cart with the big wheels. Roll it forward underneath there so I can get the front suspension, you know, in the back there. There's plenty of space where I can rip that front suspension out. And then we can sell the other frame with that front suspension, and then take this frame, roll it outside, and, you know, start getting her all cleaned up. So that way we can, you know, get it painted, rust protected, all that stuff, but also then, you know, do this boxing that I need to do as well. So let's tear this apart, and then we'll show you what the front side looks like. I've been lubing up these back fasteners. I'm sure I'm going to bust a bunch of them, but now the front's going to be the fun part as well. All right, guys, I will say this has gone way easier than I thought it was going to go. I'm sure the front will not be, but basically within, I don't know, half an hour, I've got the lower control arms already disconnected. I just got to disconnect them from the front up there. The uppers, you know, are out. The shocks are out. Basically, I just need to cut the old brake line there. And I can pull the rear end out of the way, get those front lower control arms unconnected, set this thing down, roll it forward, and then we'll go to the front and we'll see, I guess, how difficult that's going to be. I did lube a lot of this stuff up. You know, I don't think they had any effect, because if you look at these bolts, really, guys, you know, they actually look, I was really surprised how good a condition they actually were. It didn't even break the top shock bolts. Those even came right out. So let me finish this back end up. We'll set it down, roll it forward, and we'll take a look at the front end. All right, guys, got a question to ask everybody. So this is a budget build. You know, here's the control arms. They came out, right? They'll probably clean up pretty nice. Put new bushings in, box it up. What do you say? Do that or new? Now, I realize new, you know what I mean, will probably be more rigid, thicker gauge metal and everything. But remember, this is a budget build. So I'm asking your opinion. Do we do normal bushings, put polys in, and box it, or just put all new in, which is, you know, several $100s that I may or may not have. You know, a couple bucks for bushings. I got the plate right here, you know, to box it. Throw in your comments. What do you think I should do? All right, guys, so the back is all stripped out. That didn't take, but I don't know, maybe an hour goofing around. Axle's sitting over there, you know, so what I'm going to do now is get my tools out of the way here, move them to the back of the car, figure out how to set this down so it'll clear, you know, my 2x6, I guess, you know, we'll see what we can do to start stripping that front apart. All right, guys, place your bets. Let's see how easy the front comes apart compared to how easy the back came apart. So let's rip into it. So you can see I got plenty of room. So now we can try to, yank this thing apart and, hope for the best and see what happens here. All right, guys, we are at another swap meet. This time we were up in Howell, Michigan at the 50th annual GCLA, I think it is, something like that, swap meet. It's a pretty nice one. It's smaller, but I've always gotten, some stuff here. So we'll see what we can score today. There you go, guys. There's some old fuel pumps for sale. If you need, if you guys are interested in old fuel pumps. Morning.
Morning.
How you doing?
Good.
Couple of old pop coolers, 7-Up and Coca-Cola. Looks like a bunch of old Ford sheet metal. Ooh. Maybe if you buy the lot, you could make something out of it. Somebody brought his cool Chevy truck project for sale. Neato truck. Well, guys, I did come across the score. I'll have to show it to you when I get home. Right now, I'm out in the middle of a field, and I can't get out the way I thought I could. So I'm gonna have to spin around. But yeah, I scored a big deal. I might as well tell you, because it's in the thumbnail. Well, no, you know what? No, it won't be. I'll just say I got a deal. I got a fiberglass hood, front and rear fiberglass bumpers, and fiberglass headlight bezels for a 67 GTO. They're painted. The hood, was installed and had hood pins done. The bumpers were installed and painted. They've got a couple little marks on them, but other than that, guys, they are pretty solid. They're not all cracked up and beat up. So I got a decision to make. Do I want to use them or not? Or do I just want to go ahead and sell them? The guy even said, look, I don't care if you flip it. I just want it gone. So, we'll see what we're going to do. I still, I wasn't planning on this being a drag and drive car. I was planning this being a nice street car. But yeah, these parts could still be a nice street car parts. Just make the car look a little different. Anyway, I got some thinking to do. For $250 though, I couldn't pass it up. The hood is $500 alone, from VFN. And then the bumpers are like $300 a piece for bumpers. The front bumper is $300. I couldn't find the rear bumper. I didn't look very hard because I was quickly looking at the swap meet, right, to see what the price was. So I figure I got about $1,100 worth of parts for $250, if I were to go out and buy them brand new. And that does not include shipping, guys. That's just, the cost of the parts. Actually more than that, probably, because the bezel is probably closer to $1,200. So $1,200 for $250, that's, even if I flip it for, $500-600, guys, that helps me keep the cost of my car down. Anyway, when I get home, I'll show you what we got in the condition. So guys, here's what I picked up today at the swap meet. So there is the hood, back bumper, front bumper, and these fiberglass headlight bezels, plus some of the hardware. So yeah, not too shabby. I mean, they're not perfect by any means. You know, they got a little bit of damage here, right? A little damage there. A little damage on the nose. You can see some damage to the hood here. The guy, whoever did this, didn't know what he was doing, and you know, you can see they're installed in different spots. I don't know, maybe that's by design. I'll have to see how it would go. But yeah, so you know, this is a VFN hood. I'm not sure if these are also VFN bumpers. Yeah, there's a VFN sticker down there. So these were made by VFN, the company. So here's about $1,200 worth of fiberglass parts that I got for $250, and I paid $7 for the, you know, urethane bumpers, because you know, I don't know if mine are any good. So for $7 I couldn't pass that up either, because I think these just sell for like $16 or $17. So the plot thickens, guys. What do I do with the GTO? I was thinking about just building it into a driver. Now do I go ahead and put the LS in it, put a cage in it, put these fiberglass parts in it, and make it a drag and drive car with, you know, AC and you know, rear heated windows and, you know, power rear window antenna and all that kind of stuff? I don't know. Anyway, I got to tear the front suspension off the Buick frame now and put it on the Pro Street frame so I can sell a Pro Street frame. Anyway, let's get back to that. All right, guys, figured I'd give you an update. We almost have the whole front suspension off. I need to get that lower control arm off, the shock and the spring out of there yet. Believe it or not, I have not broken any bolts. I'm really shocked that I have not, especially like the shock bolts. I was able to undo those. That's what I got to do on that side yet, is take the shock off on that side so I can get the spring out of the way, and then I can get the two bolts off to that lower control arm, knock it out. And then this upper control arm here is being stubborn. So I'm soaking it a little bit, you know, trying to bust it loose. So then we can get this control arm on. And then we can clean up this floor. And then I can take this suspension over to the other frame, put it up for sale, and then bring the other suspension over here and just set it aside for now while I, you know, clean the frame up and, you know, get it ready for welding and reinforcement and, you know, fix, you know, these mounting holes and stuff. So still quite a ways to go. All right, guys, so we're resorting to heat. This is all I have. I don't have torches, so we are going to try and get this as hot as I can. Now that side over there is loose. This side will not come loose. So I have, you know, persuaded it with a you know, pry bar, hammer. Yep, air hammer, 2. So we're gonna give her a bunch of heat now and see if we can't get this thing to come loose. So I'm gonna be sitting here for a little while. I want to try and get it as hot as I can and see if we can't bust it loose. All right, guys, in about 10 minutes worth of heat, we got her off using the air hammer wherever it went. Using the air hammer here, we were able to get her unstuck. So that was enough heat to kind of help get her loose with a little penetrant oil. You know, we'll chase the threads good and make sure it's okay, but there she is. So now we've got this thing stripped off. I just need to take, you know, some of the fuel lines and whatnot off. So now what I'm going to do is take all these chassis parts to the other garage, bring those other chassis parts, probably put them in front of the car for right now, or off to the side somewhere out of the way. And I need to get that big tire off so I can sell it with the other rim. I'll probably take these rims and tires and toss them up there so they're out of my way and helping with the weight situation, so this, you know, back end doesn't, you know, decide to teeter on me. So with that said, guys, I think that wraps up this video. So you know, you can see we're making progress. It's going to be slow go. You know, I got a lot to do, not a lot of space. So we got to figure out how we're gonna do some of this. I'm actually thinking about moving my shop dog trailer over in front of the car here, taking this shell body here, pushing it backward, figuring out where to put the engine, and then putting the frame right up here behind, you know, the GTO, so that way I can, my welder, right there, so I can, you know, weld up the frame, you know, along the front of the garage, I guess the back of the garage, you know, opposite the garage door. So maybe it's something up. So anyway, guys, let me figure this out, and thank you very much for watching. Trust me, all your, you know, watching these series of videos, all the money's going right back into this car. You know, I'm not making a whole lot, so whatever I do make, it's going to help buy, you know, carpet, headliners, suspension parts, you know, whatever I need. So please share, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, guys, and we'll see you on the next upload.